those tall buildings, and if you're seeing people with the intellectual acumen of naked, barefooted shepherds, squandering the resources of the country, squandering the resources of the economy in this futile struggle for recognition, that this is a sign of progress. The taller the building, the greater the progress we are achieving. If you see this, and yet you turn away from it, and you turn your attention to other things, how foolish is that? So that's the easy part of the subject. But then we came to the other part, which was so difficult, that among the signs of the last day is this: أن تلد الأمة ربتها, that a slave woman would give birth to her mistress. And on the day of Jum'ah, I normally would say Friday, but I was told that Fry is a Scandinavian goddess, and Friday is the day of recognition of worship of a Scandinavian goddess. So let me stick to Yawmul Jum'ah. When we met on the day of Jum'ah, we explained how she became a slave woman. We explained riba to be the basic means through which Dajjal seeks to enslave mankind in order to be able to establish his dictatorship over the whole world. We spoke about one form of riba, the John Perkins. You remember that book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman? Try to get it. John Perkins spoke about how they would go to Bangladesh and they would force Bangladesh to take a very big loan for electricity, for power generation, for this and that and the other. And a significant part of that passage, of course, is going to Greece, the pockets of an elite who will now be beholden to them. Yes? So these will be their Trojan horses, and they will be in the military. Yep, the generals. They will be in the Ministry of Finance. They will be in the Planning and Division Ministry. They might be in the Prime Minister's office. Might be the Prime Minister himself. And when the time comes to pay back the loan with the interest, Bangladesh can't pay. So Bangladesh defaults on the loan. And then they're going to have to negotiate something called rescheduling the debt, which is barter process. We will reschedule, but you must vote this way in the UN. We'll reschedule, but you must allow family planning. You must allow this and that and the other. Our part of the bargain is that you must do these things, and we'll reschedule your debt. So financial blackmail. So you lose your freedom. And when you lose your freedom, you become increasingly enslaved. And then we spoke about the other part of riba. Not the lending of money and interest, but the corruption of money itself. And how if you can take paper and print it and put a number on it and then assign to it an entirely fictitious value. And I always warn my audiences that here is someone who has studied international monetary economics at the doctoral level. So I know something about what I'm talking about. If you could take paper and print a picture, put a number on it, and assign to it an entirely fictitious value, you are attempting to create wealth out of nothing. Only Allah can do that. Well then, how can you get wealthy? How can you acquire wealth? How can you get this piece of paper to become valuable when it is valueless? The answer is that every time people use that paper and accept it as money, their loss is your gain. And so a monetary system came into place which banned the use of gold as money. It's there in the Articles of Agreement of the International Monetary Fund. And replace real money with bogus, fraudulent, haram paper currency. And secondly, not only are they creating wealth out of nothing, when we try to follow them on that path of shirk, like we did with Bank of Commerce, BCCI, you remember that bank? When we try to print our paper, remember theirs is hard currency, yeah? They have a special secret chemical. They dip the paper in it, and it becomes a hard currency. Yeah? And all the world wants the hard currency. But we don't have that secret chemical. So when we print our paper, nobody wants it. Their secret chemical that they use to dip the paper is like taking all the oil-producing countries and getting their governments to become your clients, and then creating a cartel called OPEC. And then you get that cartel to impose on what should be a free market, impose an obligation that no one can buy oil without that paper. And since oil is the largest commodity traded in the world economy, you are on your way for preserving your paper as hard currency. Huh? I'm giving you just a few tidbits for those who want to research a subject. The world of Islamic scholarship has failed, and failed miserably on this subject. And part of the reason for the failure is that the institutions of Islamic learning have not kept abreast with the changing world. And so the graduates that come out of the Darul Uloom, the Maulanas, the Shuyukh, the Muftis, are blissfully ignorant of international monetary economics. And when they do have a little bit of knowledge, it is usually defective. So we did tell you about how she became a slave woman. We did say that while there was slavery in the past, the greatest slavery of all is the one that lies ahead. Now then, how does the slave woman give birth to her mistress? We told you she will do it on Monday, eh? Well, she is going to do it today. In order for us to understand the slave woman giving birth to her mistress and the link with the last age, we must go back to Dajjal. And we must go back also to ancient Egypt. Yesterday, I quoted for you from Surah to Yunus. You are lucky that I cannot interrupt the lecture to question you. You're lucky.